Hi everyone, I'm your host Bastian Noffer and welcome to my technology podcast. Today's topic is: should you become a technology professional? And I think this is a worthy discussion because we are early in the year. In the summer, a lot of you or young people are graduating their high school and they're asking themselves, what should I do? What should I study? From my own experience, I want to shed some light on the question if you should get into technology, either in classic IT or into software development or even computer science, so research. Yeah, to kick off the discussion, the root of any technology professional doesn't matter if you're working in IT as an administrator or if you're a software developer, a software architect, or an AI researcher. The root for everyone in the field is you have to like solving problems. Yeah? You have to like overcoming challenges. Because everything that technology does is trying to solve a problem that we humans cannot solve ourselves, or making something that we have to do or would have to do manually easier for us so that we can do it with less effort, or perhaps don't have to do it at all because we can give that problem to technology completely. And so basically, everything is solving problems, solving challenges. And if that is something that you dislike, then I can already tell you a career in technology will not be yours. Yeah, then if you want to have it technology related, perhaps look into data science or something where we really work on analyzing data, and you're not, which also might be problem solving in some cases, but it's not that hardcore than the classic, yeah, IT fields. Business informatics or something would be then more in your league. And from my own experience, I can definitely say, when you look at different career paths in technology, you have to know or find out at first what kind of person you are in regards to learning. From my perspective, there are two kinds of people in learning. The first kind is the person who can really take a book, read it, understand it, and reproduce it. For example, in an exam, because he had already understood it from the book itself. And the second group are persons where they can read the book, they grasp the book, but there is just the last glimmer of understanding that is missing, and that has to be filled in by using the theory to implement a solution so that you really grasp, okay, that is how it works together, so that you really can see what it does. And I have to personally say, I am definitely part of the second group. I did a computer science study at the University of Karlsruhe from 2003 to 2005. And for me, it was hard. I was really, really struggling because it was 100% theory. And I did not know at that time that I have this bias to having to use stuff to see how it works, because normal school doesn't really work that way, like a university. And it really came to me after I changed my study from Karlsruhe to the Fontes Hogeschool in Venlo, where I started my study in software engineering, which I graduated in 2009. And their way of teaching is, also because it's a University of Applied Sciences and not a classic university, is they have a hard focus on practical teaching. So they have, I think the first few years you have 2/3 are classes, 1/3 is practical work. And in the later years you really have 1/3 classes, 2/3 are practical work, and you have 2 semesters where you're actually going into a company and work in a company on some tasks, and also you write your thesis work in the end in a company, and that what you're doing has to have value for the company. And so it's not just doing things for doing things. You have to really solve a problem. And for me, that was really the right style of learning, because everything I learned in class, I was able to implement later in the practical parts. And for me, a lot more of concepts have stuck in my memory than it would have been when I just would have had the bare theory of it. So a lot of universities of applied sciences have less focus on theory and go more into practical work. But for me, the Fontes in Venlo, their IT department, is, as far as I know, the only one that does it that way. So I can really give a shout out to those guys. If you want to go into software engineering or into business informatics, that's definitely a University of Applied Sciences to consider. And they're a very international school. I think they have even an international scholarship program. They have by default students from Germany and the Netherlands, and now plus international students. And so they're very open, and they basically, after the second semester, all the classes are also in English, or even today earlier, I don't know. Graduation has been almost 12 years now for me, but we're still in touch. And a computer science program, a classic computer science program, where you're going into machine architecture, algorithms, and so on, you should really consider if you're the first type of learners, and B, when you have a good math skills, because mathematics is core in those classic computer science programs. And if you're not very good with math, you will definitely struggle a lot more. So it's you have to weigh all that. And the other thing is, when you're not want to go into the software side of things, but more perhaps into the network infrastructure server scene, you don't have to study at all, at least here in Germany. So these are all apprenticeship programs that are done here in Germany. It's different in other countries, but you can also learn a lot by just teaching yourself, and building your own home lab and just trying out stuff. I have to say, I did a lot of IT work in my late teens, where I also worked for a company in parallel to my A level exam time, and also in parallel also to my time in Karlsruhe. And I teach myself all those skills and continued to hone it through all those years. So I am someone that has a pretty holistic approach to all technology related stuff, because I know how the infrastructure works, I know how the software works, so I have a good overview about everything. And but that's not something that everyone wants to do, and that is fine. There is this conundrum with people that hear, hey, you're doing something with computers, and then you have to know how to fix my computer. And when you have someone who is studying software engineering, that must not necessarily be the case, that he knows to fix certain problems for a Windows computer or a Mac computer or whatever. So we had those discussions during my study time quite a lot, because it was happening to a lot of people. And so looking back, I have to really say that the journey going through the time of the computer science degree and then switching to the software engineering degree did teach me a lot. And I really appreciate that learning experience. And due to that, I really developed that view that I was explaining earlier. And definitely pursuing a technology career in general is a good thing, because technology will not go away. It will change. Like we already discussed in one of our previous episodes, with all the changes in architectures and how perhaps the market will develop due to several antitrust things, but it will not go away. And especially due to the current crisis, demand on technology has increased, and there are a lot of open positions. So investing in a career in that field, or even if you want to sidestep into a technology career, this is the right time to do it, and to get your foot into the door. And because there are opportunities basically around each corner at the moment. And it's also safe to explore how your area is changing, where you're living in regards to technology, because especially in the US, there is a lot of shifting of technology companies' locations due to certain conditions, and same might be the case for Europe. Perhaps not in within countries, but perhaps between countries. We are all now living in a post-Brexit world, and even the Brexit has implications on how things are working in the EU now, and of course in Britain. Another opportunity to really try and see if certain technology career paths are something for you are the several websites on the web where you can do courses, where you can teach yourself to develop, for example, apps on iOS or Android, or how to build websites and code, for example, in Angular, which is used to code the look and feel of websites. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to also test certain things out before committing to a study program, for example. Or, as I said earlier, if you want to sidestep into a technology career, to get those skills that are currently requested in your local market, so that you can have a more easy entry into the technology sector. So, that's actually it for today's episode. I hope you found that discussion useful, and feel free to leave a comment on the things I said. Perhaps you have different opinions. Let's have an open discussion. And if you want to have an episode on some more details of some parts that I elaborated today, feel free to mention that. I will definitely take that into consideration. And we will be back next week at 8 p.m. Central European Time with the premiere on YouTube. And at 8:30 p.m. Central European Time, we will hit again all the different podcast providers. And as I said, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment if you have suggestions on topics, or even for the future guests that I should talk to. Let me know. You can also reach out directly to me via listeners@binonet.com. And until next week, thanks for listening. Bye.